Well, hello and welcome to another Typical Boro podcast. As always, I'm your host, Steve Dixon. Can I keep asking you to keep subscribing to our YouTube channel? If you're listening via other platforms, please rate and review. Very important. And as always, you can hear us on the Red Radio every Tuesday, 6 till 7. Today on my screen, we have, as per usual, the dynamic duo of Mr. John Cutler and Graham Bandy. All right, boys?
Morning. All right.
Good to see you. And we'll have
good.
A guest this week. We have a guest. I love having guests on. And this week we've got Sarah Holloway, our, what should we call her, super fan. Every home game, every away game. She's all over social media, up and down the country, following the mighty Reds. She was at Blackburn yesterday. So welcome, Sarah. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. So
all over social media. What an introduction.
Before we get into the mighty Boro going to Blackburn and taking another massive 3 points, just want to give a shout out to a couple of our local sides. Yesterday, Spennymoor United, FA Trophy semi-final, 2-2, last minute equaliser in the 95th minute by Routledge, took the game to the penalties, and Spennymoor managed to get through 5-4 on penalties, and they're going to play Aldershot in the FA Trophy final for the first time in their history. So just want to say congratulations to Graham Lee and the boys. Very well, big well done from the podcast to them.
Top lad is right.
Yeah, really. And they've been through it. It's really something. Even 100%. When he lost his job when he lost his job at Hartlepool, and then there was the whole. Really pleased.
Well, that was a disgrace, him losing his job.
It was a disgrace.
They were ticking along beautifully.
Yeah, and they didn't even give him till the end of the season, did they? They just literally, It was ridiculous what they did.
It's a basket case of a club at the moment, so but he's obviously gone on to bigger and better things. But top lad, class. So pleased for him.
Lovely story that come out of yesterday's game at Spennymoor was obviously his dad, Tony Lee, who was a North East legend as a manager and everything, sadly passed away. Now Graham carries his ashes in his pocket every game, has his dad with him. And he said yesterday after the game that he's going to, when they get to Wembley for the first time, he's going to scatter his dad's ashes over the Wembley pitch. So I thought that was a wonderful story. That second North East team that I want to give a mention to this week is Middlesbrough ladies. Michael Mulhern, Middlesbrough women, in a big tussle to get promoted up to the next division. And they've got a huge game at the Riverside against Doncaster Rovers Bells next Sunday on the 13th of April. Now the situation is they're joint at the top of the National League Division 1 North with Cheadle. But Cheadle have a +3 goal difference on Middlesbrough's ladies. And they've got to try and overturn that at the Riverside against Doncaster. So Middlesbrough hoping to get a big attendance at the Riverside Stadium next Sunday. They've already sold over 1,000 tickets. They've priced them sensibly. They're only £5 a ticket, free for under 18s, free for over 65s. So just a shout out if you can next Sunday to get yourself down to Riverside, cheer on the Middlesbrough ladies and see if they can get promotion up into the top division, because they just missed out last season as well, coming second. They've only actually lost one game all season. So they actually deserve promotion. They really do deserve promotion. So good luck to Michael Mulhern's team in the ladies, and let's hope to get promotion to the next division. So right, a couple of shout outs for the North East, but we'll move on to Friday night, Blackburn Rovers, and where better to start than Middlesbrough superfan Sarah. You took the long journey. Not a long journey, but a decent journey. Decent journey. Still takes some commitment on a Friday night to go down to Blackburn. Middlesbrough are unchanged for the fourth game in a row. Michael Carrick's getting his mojo back. He's getting what he used to do, in place, not tinkering with the team anymore. And it went rather well. So, Sarah, what was your thoughts on travelling down to Blackburn? Optimistic? Did you fancy Middlesbrough to bring back the 3 points?
It's really strange because I listened to your podcast after last week and what you were thinking about ahead of Blackburn, and there was the whole typical Boro. It's a banana skin waiting to happen, because we normally we've been known to when a team's in a bad run of form and got issues around them to go there and give them a free hit, as people say. But I was actually really confident. I just couldn't see us not winning that game. I have no idea why. I don't know where it comes from. There's just something about it at the minute, and we spoke briefly before we came on air, but I just feel like things are just being laid out for us. There's just a feeling that I have that we've had such a season of ups and downs and ridiculous and sublime and all these different things. I just felt very confident going down there. Very nice day. Sun was out. We stopped in a place called Rishton, I think it was called, because there was no pubs in Blackburn at all, which is bizarre. Even the locals were complaining about that. Met loads of Burnley fans in the ladies' toilets. So, don't know why I meant to share that, but I shared that anyway. And they were talking about the fact that they were very confident that they were going to win the league. So I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But yeah, felt very confident. Was happy to hear an unchanged team. I think that was a good message, despite the fact they have the big striker. I still think that was the right thing to do. Well, it was.
Bandy, Sarah's just said there she was happy with the team being unchanged. There was obviously a big call for Michael Carrick to make. Was he going to bring in Rav Vandenberg to deal with Blackburn's aerial threat? They had the centre forward Gahey up front, who was 6'5", Colossus, put himself about. But Michael Carrick decided to stick with the unchanged team. You happy with that?
More than happy, yeah. I mean, I touched on it on the last pod. I did think we would go there and win. I said on the last pod that they were there for the taking. They're in disarray at the moment. Shambles of a club, bad ownership, and they're making all the wrong calls. So they absolutely were there for the taking, and I was so pleased that he went unchanged, because by tinkering too much, I think that's cost us dearly this season. Hopefully we can sort of resurrect that now and go unchanged for the foreseeable, barring injury. But yeah, I was really pleased. He's talking about connections. Players are now playing with a bit of telepathy. Players seem to know what they're doing. Every player's comfortable in their own skin, really, in their own position. So it bodes well for the forthcoming games, but it was a result that I thought we would get. So I was really pleased. We saw two different Boroughs in that game as well. Come out the traps really quickly, got at them, got an early goal, and then got another. And you think, wow, 2-0 up away from home, perfect. How are we going to handle this second half? Obviously, they tried to wrestle the game away from us by playing really, really ugly and pinging balls into the box at every opportunity. But I thought we dealt with that brilliantly. Yeah. Really, really good. And then the big striker that you mentioned, I didn't think he was in the game, really. And I think from the fullback positions, we were so much better. Obviously, their target second half was to ping the ball into the box from every single angle. But we stopped the ball coming into the box, and it just became a midfield battle, really. And I thought Hackney, Howson were exceptional, and I thought Morris was exceptional as well. So that trio of players, they're playing together now weekly, which is good for us. That makes us such a solid team. So it does bode well. So really, really pleased. Brilliant result.
Cuts. Graham's just mentioned the start that Middlesbrough got off to. It was imperative that Middlesbrough got at Blackburn and made a good start in the game, because with all the problems Blackburn were having off the field, you just felt if Middlesbrough could go there and score early, Middlesbrough could take over the game. And that first goal by Tommy Conway has got to be up there for goal of the season, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think the first goal was vital, because we all know what's going on behind the scenes there, and that the fans are disgruntled. But if they'd have scored the first goal, they'd have forgot all about that for the game. But by us scoring, what they were booing after 80 seconds when that goal went in, and let's be honest, it was an absolutely fantastic goal. We mentioned this a lot. If that goal that had been scored in the Premier League, that's been going on about me all the time, doing that touch, the little flick. It was brilliant, perfect start, and we went on to do really well.
Sarah, he's just mentioned there the first goal. It was another assist by Iniacho. He had 2 assists in the game. Yeah. What's your thoughts on Kelechi Iniacho? He's had a bit of stick on this podcast, but he got his first goal against Oxford, and he's got 2 assists against Blackburn. Do you think Michael Carrick should be persevering with Kelechi?
Yeah, I do, yeah. And I know that probably isn't popular with a lot of people, but I do. I think that he does cause defences to worry about him. Number one, he does, because he is a size, which has been discussed, but he's looking a little bit looser. I thought that he didn't play. I thought he played well second half against Oxford, or at least the bit that he played in the second half. But he didn't play great against Blackburn. I'm not going to deny that. But I think we've got to persevere. I think he's a confidence player. I think he can come good for us. And I think what it does do is it gives room for Conway as well. When Conway plays up top on his own as a lone striker, that never works for me. Because he's got to do all the running, he's running into the channels, and then there's nobody in the middle. I just feel like Iheanacho gives us something slightly different, and he worries defences. And then if you talk about Illing Jr. And Dykesdale, if they can get the ball into the box, he is a player that can be dangerous. Personally, I think we need to keep going with him. I don't see that changing anyways. I don't believe for 1 second he's going to drop him anyhow. I still think he can come good for us. I don't think it helps that the fans have just completely straight away, turned on him. But I respect it. I can see with my eyes what he's not doing, but I still think that I will persevere.
I think he had big shoes to fill, though, didn't he? With we're all we're good to see the sale of Christ, I forgot his bloody name. Latiola. Jesus, that's we just sold him and I forgot him already.
He's history. No one's bothered about him now.
There were big shoes to fill, and Sarah made a good point there, because Latiola, with his pace and his work rate, and he's a completely different player in Iheanacho.
Yeah.
And I think that he's not as good on the eye, and I think he's obviously hadn't played a lot of football when he's been in Spain. He's come to Middlesbrough and he's struggled to get up to speed. But now I agree with you, Sarah. He's starting to look a bit leaner. He's starting to look a bit fitter. He's making an impact in the games.
There's no coincidence that we've been on a good run and he's been in the team. So you can't just there's something in that.
Yeah, you can't take him out.
No, it's working somehow. Whether his individual performance is up to standard is a different discussion. But I would still have him in the team.
I would say Bergzorg's been pretty poor the last few games, but I still wouldn't take him out. And the reason why is because that dynamic is working. So if it's not broken, then don't try to fix it.
I'm the same. People calling for players to be dropped right now. I don't understand that.
If you win, you keep the same team. I wouldn't tinker it. We like to say, you asked me about Van den Berg coming back for the Blackburn game, and there's absolutely no chance. You're on the bench, son. You're staying on the bench until somebody gets injured, and that's what happened. Obviously, he came on. He did well when he come on when Borge had to go off with his injured foot. So it worked well. I was pleased. I listened to Tommy Conway's interview after the game, and touching on Iheanacho, they said they'd been working on that goal in training, which pleased me immensely. So they're actually trying to get these connections, and it came off. And like Dicko said, it was Bergkamp-esque. It was a world-class finish. That was brilliant.
I saw some comments that there weren't good assists, but if you actually, they have pretty decent assists. The second one, the weight of the ball into Illing Jr. is actually perfect.
It just invited him. Go on, son. Go and hit it. It was good. He's improving, but I'm still not enamoured by his immobility. I mean, he still needs to shift a few pounds, if I'm honest, and try and get around the pitch a bit more. But when the ball comes to his feet, it sticks. And his little weighted passes, little touches, his little layoffs. Dare I say, it's similar to how Viduka used to play. He's got that touch of class about him, but we need to see a lot more.
His first touch is pretty excellent, to be honest. Better than Latiola.
Yeah.
Better than Latiola.
I think that's helping Conway, no end really. So yeah.
I think it's about forward players. It's about building up relationships as well. Let's not forget, he hasn't been long since through the door. And after the goal on Friday night, Conway was pointing at Iheanacho. So that's something they're obviously working on in training. And things are only going to get better and better the way that they understand where, for example, where Conway wants the ball off Iheanacho. And it's easy. The argument of it's an easy assist is a load of rubbish, because it's an assist that led to a goal. So it's a stat. That's what he's here for, goals and assists. So let's give him a pat on the back when he deserves it, for me.
Exactly.
Yeah. What I'm impressed with at the moment is we're picking the same side. We're getting little partnerships and little relationships on the pitch, and we're in danger of having what we had under Karanka, where we've got a decent spine. If you look at the Middlesbrough side now, you've got a good goalkeeper in Mark Travers. In front of him now, Howson and Borges have formed a great partnership, is a double act. In front of them, you've got now Hackney and Morris, who are back to the best. Morris is back up to speed. Hackney looks fully fit again. They're getting their little partnership going there. Then up front now, you've got Iniacho and Conway, who we've just said are trying to develop this partnership and getting little flicks and tricks together. So right through the middle of the spine of the team now, we've got partnerships, and I think it's shown, and it's bringing other players into play in wide areas, whether it be Bergzog, whether it be Illan Jr. But I think the spine is key to Middlesbrough's success at the moment.
And we've got
I think
options
one
on the bench. We've got options on the
I think
bench,
one-
which we haven't had for a while. Sorry, John.
No, sorry, go on.
No, I was just, there was a period there when he couldn't change it. People would say, why is he not changing it? I would have argued he didn't have anything to change it with, or then maybe that's harsh, but we didn't have people that could change it. But on the bench now, I mean, we've got Riley McGree there, we've got Whittaker there, we've got Giles there. We've got players that can change the game as well on the bench, which just gives us a lot more options. Yeah, it's coming at a good time, all these players coming into form. The fact we're getting a few players back here and there, it's all coming at a good time. So, touch wood and all those.
You just mentioned Riley McGree there, Sarah. He's always a topic of conversation on this podcast. He's been back a couple of weeks. He hasn't managed to get a minute on the pitch.
No.
Do we read more into this? Is there still a problem behind the scenes, or is it just purely he's not playing because of his fitness isn't quite there? How does his fitness get there? The point I'm making is, how does his fitness get there if Michael Carrick's not going to give him 10, 15 minutes?
That's the $1 million question. And I guess, he's vying with Whittaker for that, isn't he? Because Whittaker's been his chosen substitute, and Whittaker's come in on that right-hand side mostly, which is where McGree would go. It's a difficult one because sometimes, I don't know. I don't know if there is a problem. I don't know whether, I don't know. I would like to see him get some minutes, but it's only been a week, right? Because I think he came back. I didn't expect him to feature against Oxford, like as in on the bench even. So I think it's only been a week. Let's see what happens the next 2 games. When we've got 2 games in quick succession and obviously 3 games in a week, maybe he features more then. I don't know.
Bandy, do you expect to see Riley McGree against Leeds in a cameo, or against Millwall? Do you think he's going to feature, or do you think there's more to it?
No, I think we're seeing a gradual phasing out now. I don't think he'll be here in the summer. I think he'll be gone. I think they'll look at him as a saleable asset. So I don't see him getting a place in the team. He had 3 opportunities to bring him on the other night. He didn't put him on, and he's just come back. And if he rated him, he'd want him on that pitch.
True.
Because he keeps the ball well. He links up play well, but I just don't think he fancies him. I've never thought he's fancied him. I would probably think that he doesn't trust his work rate. I don't think he sort of plays individually rather than as a team player. So I just don't think he likes him. I think he's brought in Whittaker, and I think we will now gradually see a phasing out of Riley McGree, which is sad because he's a beautiful technician. He's a brilliant player, and he's had some great moments, but they're just too few and too infrequent. And it's a shame, really, but I think he'll move him on.
So just devil's advocate here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Riley signed a new contract this year.
He did.
So there's always been rumours, people talking on social media, in pods, etc., as he had a falling out with Michael Carrick, not fancy him as a player. Well, surely Carrick is talking to the club about who to offer new contracts to. I don't think his contract was expiring this year, so there was no particular rush for that. So is it a load of rubbish? Fans talk between themselves. Now, I think he fancies him as a player. He's played him plenty of times when he's been fully fit. Is he just thinking, if he'd have come in on Friday night, we all said that we would have kept the same team. So maybe he's just thinking, while it's going well, I'm keeping the continuity, I'm keeping the same 11. Maybe it's just that. Maybe we're just sat here reading too much into it. To say that he doesn't fancy him as a player, and to say that they've had a disagreements in the background, for me, I think it's a load of baloney, that. I just think he's not getting in the team on merit.
He has been an enigma, right? Because, if you think about his period at Boro, like, he plays on the right. I don't even think that's his preferred position. I don't think it's his best position either. There is an argument about whether he should play a 10 or even an 8. I don't know, but I just think, like, I don't think that right hand side suits. Sorry, left hand side. He plays on the left, left hand side suits him that well anyhow. But he has been an enigma for us. He's in and out, and he's phenomenally talented. It's just a shame, I think, that it hasn't worked out. But I agree, 4-year contract in the summer makes no sense now in retrospect. But
having said that, Sarah, about the contract, was that not just the club securing an asset? So if they're going to sell him, going to sell him in the summer, having him under contract, you're going to get more money for him, aren't you? Is that just financial sense?
Yeah,
it's common sense. Yeah, that's what all clubs do. Just because you sign a contract doesn't mean to say you're not going to move. The buying club will have to do that contract.
So therefore, then Riley, we know how much power players have. He wouldn't have signed the contract, would he? He doesn't care if this club makes money from him. He's free to go wherever he wants, on whatever contract he wants, whoever he wants. If there was anything like this going on in the background, he'd have just said, I'm not signing a new contract, I'll go where I want. Will he? Would you sign a new contract at work if you weren't happy?
Depends how much they're offering.
No, for me, I just think it's fans generally talking like what we do, like you do in the pub before games or whatever. I don't think there's a problem behind the scenes between Riley and Michael at all. Other than he won't be happy that he's not. Other than he won't be happy that he's not getting minutes, which I want to see anyway for any player.
I think that's what Carrick's biggest frustration will be. He doesn't play enough minutes because he's injured a lot. That's the factor. Carrick's a stickler for longevity. He wants players playing every single week. When we had Bruce Rioch in charge, the first question he would ask an agent, or if there was agents back in them days, how many games am I going to get out of your son? And if you were 40 plus, then you wouldn't be signed. So that's how I think he's looking at it. He just doesn't play enough. And the slightest niggle, he's not playing.
Just a slightly different question. Like we do seem to buy players who are injury prone. Do we do enough work in the background in terms of looking into their history? Because I even learned, I didn't know this, but I learned 2 weeks ago that Aidan Morris had an ACL injury in the past. I didn't even know that. And it was just like interesting to me that, not that I'm saying you shouldn't pick up a player that's had an ACL injury. I mean, they can come back, of course. But, you know, you look at some of the injuries we've had and you look into the history of the players. That's been their history. Are we doing the right things when we recruit in that sense? I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just feel like we talk about Carrick's training methods and we talk about what's happening in training and all these things, but I think the players, I think the way we recruit, we need to be. Anyway, that was just enough. I was just thinking about that when I was thinking about Riley McGree, because I think he's had a history record as well. This is not new with some of these players.
I think at our level, beggars can't be choosers. Sometimes you do have to take a risk with a player.
True.
If we're a level above,
yeah,
we'd be able to cherry pick who we want because we'd have a lot more money to be able to spend. But that's the only factor I can think of, really. But we've been unlucky. I'm sure there's other factors due to the lot of injuries we have had, which we will never know about unless there's a full investigation at the club in the summer. But yeah, the injury list this season's been tragic. It's completely derailed us, particularly Morris for me. I don't know when he was injured.
Which makes the job Carrick's done seemingly look even better.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Cuts, I just want to bring you in another point that from Blackburn. The abandonment of this playing out from the back, which delights me because I'm absolutely sick of it under Michael Carrick, this messing about at the back. And there's been a shift change in the tactics behind the scenes, and I'm delighted that it's happened. I don't know if that's because our goalkeeper is an old school type keeper that just wants to put his foot through the ball. But I just think, it's helped Middlesbrough of late. The goalkeeper, if he's in trouble, he just whacks it down the pitch. You've seen Johnny Howson, if in trouble, it goes long. Same with Borges. I think that's been I suppose it's a credit for Michael Carrick as well to acknowledge that it wasn't working. And he hasn't got a goalkeeper now like Senny Dieng who likes to play off in the back. And they've just changed the tactics overnight. It's a good thing, isn't it?
It's a good thing. But I would say we haven't changed the tactics because at times we do still play short. I think it's down to IQ. So we've got a goalkeeper now that knows when to wait it long and when to play it short. And I mentioned last week we've got Howson playing at centre half, who knows exactly where central midfielders want to receive the ball. I don't think we've changed tactics at all. I just think we've got players with a little bit more upstairs. That's no disrespect to any of the others, by the way, that know where midfielders want to get the ball and when's the right time to play and when's the right time to kick it long. 100% every single fan will have mentioned this season that when you need to kick it long or put the ball in rosette, that's what you need to do. That's what's massively changed for me. Now, you mentioned that about short passing at the back. I think the biggest change is what I've noticed in recent weeks. We're defending from the front. We're covering gaps where earlier in the season, right-hand side, Ayling was getting isolated and there was no one covering. I think the work rate has gone up 20-30% from players covering players that are out of position. I think it was massively. You could see it. You could see it on Friday night, and I think we've seen it in the last few weeks.
It's a good point, is that, John? I think there's been a massive transformation, a massive shift in endeavour. Players wanting to put in a shift and work for each other and preventing ridiculous goals. There was too much of an apathetic attitude during that really bad slump where we looked absolutely shocking. It was embarrassing, really. And something's gone on since that Watford game when Carrick's job was seriously under threat. Chairman's come out and said, look, I'm backing you, you're my man. And we've somehow galvanised and we look such a better team. However, I will point out, Howson's return has helped massively. It's helped having Aidan Morris and Hackney playing together regularly. It's helped them having Howson behind him as well. John correctly says that we're plugging gaps. We're not allowing teams to sort of swamp us and override us, which is pleasing because we were so lackadaisical. It was untrue and it was really angering me. And I could see it and every fan could see it. And we were saying, Carrick, why can't you see it? Something's clicked, the penny's dropped, and he looks a better manager for it. He's even vocal and more aggressive on the touchline as well. He's bollocking players now, which was brilliant to see the other night. He had a go at Morris, which was fantastic. That's what we want. Players are now bollocking each other if they don't get the ball in the right areas. So it's good. That's what we want to see. So, yeah, it's fantastic. Well done, Carrick, and well done the players for sort of weathering that storm and coming through it.
But I also think Carrick was seeing those things. It's just not always easy to click a switch and it changed overnight. I think the January window really rocked us for many reasons. Players lost, players coming in. And it's taken a while for those players to settle. And although we all said, oh, what a terrible window, actually now, looking at it, goalkeepers improved us, Illing Jr.'s improved us. Iheanacho remains to be said. But we've got Giles. I think Giles will still have a part to play. I think it's looking slightly better now than it was. Those players have bedded in better. It's calmer. It was just a period of time and there was a lot of things going on. And I think it took Carrick a while to grab hold of it. I don't think for 1 second he wasn't in the background doing all the things, thinking all the things we talk about as fans. But it's not just a click of the fingers. You know, my job is to work with management, change management, all these things. It takes a while sometimes for things to actually bed in and for things to start working. And I think it's been interesting to see that he's now getting the positives from that. There's a reason Gibson backed him. He's not an idiot, you know, and he backed him because I think he believes in him. And thank God he did, to be honest, because I still believe. I pretty much believed in him all the time. I had a bit of an argument with him, not him personally, obviously, just with myself after Bristol City because he got that dramatically wrong second half, ridiculously wrong, not to make a change. And that was when I was a bit like, that I questioned him that night. But other than that, I've kind of stuck with him. And I think we would have lost a potentially very, very, and I think he will go on to be a very, very good manager, even if he does leave us at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Just to conclude, go on, Graham. Go on. Yeah,
I just want to highlight the contrast really between that Sheffield United game where we were battered out of sight, 3-1 defeat. He looked shot to pieces. He looked gone at that point. I went on my Twitter and I thought, I didn't say it was the end. It just felt like the end. And I was like, where do we go from here? How do we recover? And he's somehow done it. You know, he's like a cat with 9 lives. Fantastic, really. Compare that Sheffield United defeat to, you know, the victory at Blackburn. 2 different sides, albeit, but both strong physical sides that we generally come unstuck against. But we've recovered well, so I'm delighted, and I'm really pleased that we stuck by him. I mean, we had a right to question what was going on. Absolutely, 100%. Because it was pitiful. And if fans don't voice their opinions, we could have just gone into complete free fall and finished bottom 6. the way we were heading. That's how it was looking.
I do agree, but it got hysterical, right? It did get a bit hysterical, bearing in mind like what had happened, things had gone on, the history. Still only his second full season, right? Let's be clear about that. I know he had a very good start, which probably he paid for a little bit, that good start. Although we did bring in some good players in January. But yeah, I still think he's learning by his mistakes as they happen, and we're having to watch them and we're having to be part of them.
Yeah.
That's what he's having to do because he's young and he's fresh, and yeah, it's definitely got a bit hysterical at one point.
This is the enjoyable part now because he's making the right decisions, I think.
Yeah.
He's not tinkering. He's playing a settled team.
Yeah.
The players are trying more because obviously confidence is a big thing as well.
It's
so
huge.
The players will look a lot more confident. But that's down to good management as well. So
and
well played,
he did say through that entire period that behind the scenes there was a good relationship between the team, and we see that now. You know, he always said that the boys are sticking together. We're all sticking together. He always said that, and we were all like, well, it doesn't look like it. We can't see it on the pitch, but we can now see that, and I think that period of time will hopefully have served us really well.
Well, that's the point, Sarah, isn't it? With Michael Carrick, talks cheap, and let's be honest, when he talks, I generally fall asleep. So it's better to see the actions on the pitch. I still say regarding Michael Carrick, regardless, yes, it's picked up. Yes, we're doing well. Yes, we're seeing effort. That's the bare minimum that we should be seeing with this squad, with this talent, and this is his third opportunity to get up into the Premier League. He needs to deliver. Long may it continue. Let's hope we'll have a fantastic end of the season, get into the playoffs, and then if we don't make it, Michael Carrick, his position still looks tenable. But, if we didn't make the playoffs this season, like me and Cuts have said for months, I would remove him. I'd remove him because I think this Middlesbrough team, this Middlesbrough squad has got the talent to get promoted next season. We'll have lots of finance behind them next season with the sale of Lat. And I just think, just because we're good to watch, we're good on the eye, Michael Carrick is still, at the moment, not produced what we want, which is to be in the Premier League. So I know you're not going to agree with this. That's fine. If Michael Carrick gets to the playoffs, we'll have a good end of the season. I may well change my mind myself. But at the moment, he needs to deliver because this season we're not just going to paper over the cracks because we've had a good few weeks by beating a few teams down the bottom of the league. This season has been poor. It's been a real poor season. Poor to watch. Inconsistent all season. And his management this season, up until recently, has been questionable. But he's getting it right at the moment. And for that reason, obviously, gets me 100% backing. And I hope he delivers. And I hope he gets to the playoffs and gets to a promotion. And he's a Middlesbrough hero. But at the moment, his position for me is still open, for question come the summer if we don't make the Premier League.
So what if we finish 7th? Would you sack him and bring in a new manager?
I would, yes.
Have that upheaval all summer of bringing in more players and.
Well, I keep repeating myself. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Michael Carrick got to the playoffs, we got beat. The season after that, we come 8th with a good squad, didn't get promotion. This season we've got an even better squad. If we come 7th and miss out in the playoffs again, why would it be any different next season? Can you answer us that?
Yeah, I can, because currently he's showing signs of progress. He's making the right calls more often than not.
No. How is it signs of progress? If we come 7th, like you said, we made the playoffs and we got beat off Coventry. Then we didn't make the playoffs and we come 8th. If we come 7th and miss out in the playoffs again, that's not progress. Progress this season has got to be, at the minimum, has got to be the playoffs.
If we finish 7th, that's one place above what we finished last season. So that's progress.
It's not because we've got a better squad than last season, and we should be minimum top 6.
That's, in your opinion, it's a better squad.
I think, I don't think many Middlesbrough fans would disagree with that.
I disagree with that.
You think we had a better squad last season?
No, I think this season the squad is not as good as what the fans seem to think it is. I don't think it is. I think he's got a really good I think he's got the best. Don't forget, he lost £50 million worth of talent in January. We lost Latte Lath and we lost Ben Dork. They were massive for us, and he still managed to bring that team around and get. I think he's done a really good job. I think that our squad it is a playoff squad, and I think we should get into the playoffs. If he finishes 7th with everything that he's been up against this season, and he's been up against a lot, I would certainly be wanting him to continue for continuity's sake, because let me tell you, ripping it up and starting again over and over again is not always the best thing to do.
Would be ripping it up and starting again? I'll bring in a second cuts. Would be ripping it up and starting again though, because Middlesbrough have got a blueprint now. We've got a blueprint of how we play. We've got a squad of players that have been handpicked to play in a certain way. There's managers out there now, many of them, that like to play the Michael Carrick way, the 4-2-3-1. It might just be that if we don't make the playoffs again, a new voice in the dressing room would get where we need to be.
You talk to the likes of Conway, you talk to the likes of Morris, you talk to even Johnny Howson. They are all, so Morris joined Middlesbrough because of Carrick. Conway openly talked about the fact he joined Middlesbrough because of Carrick, because he's got a reputation of developing players. So there are players in our team, many of that are here because of Carrick. I'm not saying they would automatically leave, because that's not, at the end of the day, they're not signed to Carrick, they're signed to the club. But I do think there is a lot of players in that team who are here because of Michael Carrick. I think that there isn't, for me at least, I don't see a ready-made manager out there that's going to do better than Carrick. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't. The names that came up in January, none of them impressed me. So for me, personally, with everything he's learned the last 2.5 seasons, I would want to use that here rather than lose it and then start again with somebody else. He has learned a lot the last 2 years about himself, about coaching, about the league. I mean, he never played in the Championship. He played in the Premier League. I mean, the guys, the Championship is the toughest league probably in the world. Everybody's fighting to get out of it. We're already at a disadvantage because there's 3 teams. I know Luton haven't performed this year, but there are 3 teams in there that have substantially got an advantage against everybody else. So you are fighting for scraps at times, and Oxford United beating Sheffield United yesterday, Luton drawn with Leeds. This league is mental. It is so tough, so difficult, and it literally is a battle to the end. And I think, personally, I would want to see us persevere. But hopefully we don't have to talk about that.
Fair play. Cuts, I'll bring Cuts in.
Nice sentiment.
He hasn't had his opinion. Cuts, I'll bring you on. Do you agree with Michael Carrick's PA, Sarah?
Unfortunately, I don't. So we've got the 3rd highest wage bill in the Championship. And what are we? About 20 points away from the top 3. We went on a run where we won about 2 games in the team, which was not good enough. Ultimately, he's the manager. The start of the season, Gibson and Carrick have been talking, saying this squad's definitely good for the playoffs. Maybe a top 2 push. I was saying that myself. If we don't get in the playoffs, ultimately, no matter what's happened, this season is a failure. So who's in charge? Carrick's in charge. We can't just keep saying we're making progress. Because if we keep making progress and not making the playoffs, ultimately, we're just wasting our time. To say that there's not other managers. You what?
Is that not a bit blunt saying it's failure? You've not achieved your mission.
It is.
To get in the playoffs, but that could be like a matter of a point. That's the thing. It's not like we're 50 points adrift of playoffs and he's dead and buried. It could be the matter of drawing a game or not winning a game, which gives you that disparity by not achieving your objective. So you can't. I wouldn't say
at the start of the season, Graham. Did you think this squad was good enough to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I've said all season until we lost Morris. I was wanting us to push top 2. I've said it all season. So I thought the squad was capable. Obviously, things changed throughout the season. We lost Morris. Latte Lath was sold, and that just nosedived us completely. It derailed our season big time. Now we're in the recovery process, and we're showing signs of positive recovery, which is good. So if we don't achieve playoffs, you could say, yes, it is failure, because the objective at the start of the season was to get in playoffs. That's the minimum requirement, but I don't think it warrants moving the manager on. I think that's the difference we need to try and find, because I don't think we would find another manager who would come in quickly and get us fighting in them playoffs as quick as you want us to. I think we just got to be a bit more reasonable.
You say that. Sunderland have hired an unknown manager, and they're 15 points ahead of us. Is their squad any better than ours? I'm not having that. I'm not having that argument at all.
They've had no injuries whatsoever. I mean, Sunderland have had a really. I know Sunderland fans, and I think they've had some players playing out of their skin. They've had a combination of factors just go for them all season. But it happens. That happened for Carrick in his first season. Don't forget.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I don't want him to go. I want him to succeed. But ultimately, football is about achieving what you set out to do. I keep going on about the wage bill. There's no way we should be so. There's no way we should be so far behind the other teams. No chance. Not even with the injuries we've had. We had the injuries last year. Even with the players that we've had playing, we've massively underperformed at times this season. So as a fan, it is brutal. At the end of the season, if we don't make the playoffs, it's failea.
The only team I agree with you on is Sunderland. You know, the other three, I would have expected them to be ahead of us, to be honest, with their squads. Looking at their squads, I expect the other three to be ahead of us.
So as a businessman, if you were Steve Gibson then and you're spending more money than at least one of them three clubs, would you not be asking questions of why we're so far behind them?
I would be asking questions of my team who put contracts together, because I don't think we have the third best squad in the league. If you talk about third best pay, I don't think that's not computing to me on the pitch. No chance.
I'd be saying to my chairman, "Why are you selling me short? Why are you selling our best player?"
100%, Graham. Thank you.
He's had the rug pulled. Happened with Southgate. We had Luke Young at right back, and then he had to replace him with Justin Hoyt. That's what the chairman does. He runs a business, not just a football club. He doesn't appease the fans all the time.
You're saying we've sold that to a lad, Graham, but he did bring in Morgan Whittaker for £6 million. He's brought in Illing Jr. He's brought in Mark Travers in January as well to bolster things up as well. So he didn't do nothing in January. And obviously Niacho hasn't come.
Two of them are loans, though, right?
That's three loans. That's three loans. Anybody can bring a loan in. These players weren't even kicking a fat backside until we brought them in. The only one we've spent good money on is Whittaker. We obviously recouped a lot from Lath, 22 million, whatever. So he's banked the other 15. So he's not giving that much. We've got Whittaker.
So just a quick one, Graham. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure when we were talking about it before Christmas, and you were saying how much disruption Lath had caused by wanting to go to Ipswich, and I'm sure you said that you would have sold him, and then now you're saying that you would question the chairman for selling someone who doesn't want to be here. Me personally, I don't want players here that don't want to be here. Now, whether they've brought in the right players to replace him, I don't think Gibson's threw Carrick under the bus. Look at the money we're spending. Who's authorising all that? It's all Gibson. Gibson's the one who's doing it.
I'm not saying Gibson's throwing Carrick under the bus, but what I'm saying is this is not just all on Carrick. There are many people involved in this club. There is Neil Bowser, there is Kieran Scott, there is Gibson, there is Carrick. Why is Carrick the fall guy for all the decisions that happened this season? That doesn't make sense to me. It has to be that if we fail as a club, all four of them people have failed.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sarah, but ultimately, the manager has to carry the can.
I get that.
It's one of those things. That's just the way football is. I agree with you. It's not all on Michael Carrick. Absolutely not. You've got to look at the coaching staff. You've got to look at the players. But ultimately, the manager, he's the boss. He's got to carry the can. And listen, it's a good debate. I think we'll leave it there for now. It's a 2-2 draw. I think it's fine. Let's hope we'll make the playoffs. We'll end the season strongly. Michael Carrick gets a fourth opportunity next season at it. I'm sure Cuts agrees with me on that. But it's just one of those things. You either you think coming 7th or 8th is a success, or you don't.
No, I don't think that, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. We'll just to finish on Blackburn. The best part of the game against Blackburn, undoubtedly, was when the second goal went in and the camera panned to Rudy Gestead to see Gestead in the stands looking absolutely distraught. We've waited months and months and months and months to see Rudy Gestead looking that distraught, and I, for one, was absolutely delighted. I wound it back, I paused it, I watched it over and over again. Wonderful scenes to see Rudy Gestead looking actually distraught in the stands. Loved every second of it. So, we're going to move on from Blackburn, because we've got loads to get through still in this podcast, by the way. Move on from Blackburn, and I'm going to give a push to Midas Claddon, our sponsors. April prize draw. What we're going to do this month is we're going to give away 2 pairs of free tickets for Norwich on the last home game of the season. So all you'll have to do, we'll put something out in the socials, a prize draw tweet. If you retweet it for us, make sure you're following us on X, and we'll announce the winners on next Sunday's podcast. So it'll be 2 pairs of tickets for Norwich. It could be a fantastic last day of the season. If we beat Norwich, that could be the game that gets you into the playoffs. So good prizes for people to win. Right, we'll discuss Leeds, because obviously we've got the Harrogate Hound and Graham Bandera with us. So we're looking towards Tuesday night. I think that win against Blackburn's probably going to put a couple of thousand on the gate. I'd imagine we'd be pushing 30,000 Tuesday night. Raucous atmosphere. Leeds in trouble. They were 1-6. Middlesbrough have won 5 of the last 7. Should be a real good night at the Riverside under the lights, Graham.
Yeah, looking forward to it. They're in a bit of disarray, really, by their standards. They should have had that league sewn up weeks ago, and obviously the keeper's chucked a few in for them. Farker's gone public and brought in Carl Darlow and basically said to Melia, look, you dropped, son. So that gives it an extra bit of spice. Let's try and test this new keeper. If Melia was still in goal, I would have instructed my players to ping the ball into the box as often as possible and as high as possible, because he's susceptible. He's let them down on countless occasions, and the fans are quite vocal about it. They don't really care what the manager thinks or what the keeper thinks. If they're not good enough, they get him out of the team quickly. So he's under a different kind of pressure than Carrick. The pressure's probably off us a little bit because we're in form. Tricky game. If you're asking me to predict things, it's too hard. I probably need to see the teams 10 minutes before kickoff, like I always say, and then I can make a reasoned judgment. But it'll be tough, very tough. They've had a lot of luck at Riverside. They seem to get lucky bounces in their favour. We don't get much from them. We got battered at Ellen Road in the league this season. They swamped us. So we'd have to make sure that we do a job on. It'll be Ampadu in the centre with Tanaka, the Japanese player, who's very, very lively, great player. He ran the game at Ellen Road early season. We never got a grip of him, but we've got a different midfield now. We played Barlaza that night, and he was a passenger. So we've got that added assurance. We've got Howson behind, Hackney and Morris, and that's the dynamic. I think if we can get them 3 playing and firing, we've got a decent chance to get a half decent result, but it'll be tough. It'll be very, very tough because they've got to come and win. And when they go for teams, they're very, very good. We need to cut that supply line out to Nonto, Piro. They've got quality all over the field. Susceptible defensively, we can get at them. Rodon likes to push on, which is good because that might suit Conway. So Ian Atchell's got to be on his game. He's get on the ball as often as he can and try and feed Conway. Hopefully that dynamic will come off again.
Sarah, it's the derby that's not a derby on Tuesday night against Leeds. Do Middlesbrough have enough to take something from the game? And would a point do on Tuesday night?
It would for me. I would take it. If you offered me a point right now, I'd take it. Snap your hand off.
Yeah.
I don't know. It, like Graham says, it's such a fixture. I mean, I've seen us play twice at Ellen Road this season, and both times very, very different games.
Yeah.
Very, very different results. I mean, the first game got me excited for top 2, to be honest. But yeah, I think if it depends. I mean, they've got 3 draws on the trot, haven't they? So they need to win. They've got to come to win, which could also make it play into our hands as well. So I don't know if they turn up, we don't stand a chance, if I'm being honest. But if they don't and they're not on it and they're feeling nervous, I personally, I'm worried about it. I am. I'm worried about the fans' reaction, to be honest, because we need to keep this positive energy going, and I don't think that game will be the decider for us in the final 6 games. So I just want us to turn up, give a performance. I mean, if we win, I'll be very excited going to Millwall, let me tell you. But yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. Like I'm being very non-committal here. But I'll take a ball right.
I see it, Sarah, as being very similar to the Sunderland game at the Riverside.
Yeah.
They came to try and beat us, and we managed to pick them off, but they got the luck. And
I know they did.
Always get the luck.
But what you said there about Leeds coming to the Riverside and getting luck and all the rest of it, I would have said Blackburn had luck against us, and they didn't have it, did they? And I feel like hopefully luck's starting to go in our direction as well. You do need a lot of luck in these sort of games, and I'm just praying the luck's with us on Tuesday. And Bamford's back in, I noticed yesterday.
Yeah, he came on for the last 15 minutes at Luton.
He likes scoring at the Riverside, don't he? But anyway,
he looks.
He's not the same player. He's not the same.
He looks way off it. The fans aren't enamoured by him at all. But football's a funny game, and
it
takes one chance.
Cuts. Just to bring you in quickly on. Sarah mentioned Millwall as well. We've got obviously Leeds on Tuesday and Millwall on Saturday. What would you think would be a respectable take for Middlesbrough in terms of points from those two games? What would you be happy with? Do you think we need to get 3 out of the 6, or would you be happy with 2? Or obviously 6 is the what would you take? It's a big week, but I don't think it's going to be a week that's going to decide Middlesbrough's season. To be honest, but it's still a big week, and like Sarah says, to keep momentum going, what would you be happy with?
I don't see any reason why we can't take 4 points with the run of form we're on. But I mean, we talk about Leeds. They're on a dreadful run of form at the moment. They're under pressure now, down to 3rd. It's a game they need to come here and win. The atmosphere will be absolutely electric on Tuesday night, which I think will be great for our lads. We're on a run of form. Confidence is high. And when you're saying, will you accept a point wouldn't be a bad result. But I'm not going to sit here today and say I'll accept a point. I think we can win. If we perform, I think it's a game we can win. And I'm hoping Carrick's saying the same to the lads, and they all believe it. They should do on the run of form we're on. Top 3 in the form table or whatever it is in the last 6 or 7 games. And when you're saying it might not be a week that'll decide our season, if we're sat here next Sunday talking about 2 defeats, it could be very well be a week that decides our season, because there's only 6 games left now. Every game's huge. So it's a game that, do I think we'll win? It wouldn't surprise me one bit. Can we win it? Yes, we can. Let's go there and give them a real good go, like what we did last season.
I'm hoping the fans get right behind the side on Tuesday night. I think it's been quite passive of late. Middlesbrough fans haven't been, they thought the season was over a few weeks back, but like Sarah said, but the fans are just starting to believe again. You could sense that at Blackburn, I guess, Sarah, in the stands, 3,500 there. Let's hope we can bring that energy on Tuesday night and, get a famous victory against Leeds, because it seems a while since we beat them at the Riverside.
It's been too long.
I think one thing for me, imagine the confidence that the players would get injected into their veins if we beat them on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
It'd be absolutely huge. It'd be more than 3 points. I know people say it's only 3 points. It'd be more for the players and the backroom staff and the fans. The fans would totally believe that we can do it, where in the last few weeks, even up to now, people are 50-50 whether we can make the playoffs, and some doubting it. If we beat them on Tuesday, there won't be a fan in that stadium that doesn't think we can make the playoffs and then dreaming about Wembley. There won't be one.
Yeah. Right, guys, what we're going to do is, since it's been like the WWE on here, it's been like the Royal Rumble between the 4, it's been a tremendously passionate podcast. I want to end it on a bit of fun, right? Haven't done it for a while, but because Mr. Cutler's back now, he thought he was going to escape this, but he's not. We're going to do the typical Boro soccer sixes for the final time this season to see if somebody can topple Simon Blower, who's been top. His side's been winning it for quite a while now, and this is the last opportunity for either of you to win the trophy of the typical Boro soccer sixes. So I don't know if you know the rules, Sarah. But basically, you've got to pick a soccer six side, which consists of a goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and a striker from players that you've watched in your lifetime watching Middlesbrough. You'll get a pick, and then John will get a pick, and it'll go backwards and forwards. You can't pick the same player.
Right,
so
okay.
whoever Sarah picks in goal, John can't, and vice versa for the other positions. So the adjudicator and the judge, as always, is Mr. Graham Bandera. He has the difficult job of picking. He has the choice of picking the winner. You've got to think of the players to play in a soccer six side as well, not just an 11-a-side team.
Right.
And the winner will go through to play Simon Blower live on X, and it'll be voted who's going to be the champion for this season's podcast. So I'm going to start with heads or tails to go first, and I'll go for the guest, Sarah. Heads or tails?
Heads.
It's a tail. So John is going to go first.
Because I'm a gentleman, I'm gonna let Sarah go first. I'll do first.
Oh, hey, what a smooth guy, smooth talker.
Oh,
Go on then.
hopefully that'll count in the votes.
I see your tactics there.
Right, cool.
I'm
Sarah's
going to
go first with the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I'm going to go Stephen Pears.
Stephen Pears, popular choice. My favourite goalkeeper.
Same.
Mr. Cutler.
I've changed my mind. I want to go first. Just pick my keeper. I'm going to go for Schwarzer then.
Mark Schwarzer is in goal for Cuts. So Sarah, you go now, defender.
I'm going to go Tony Mowbray.
Schoolboy error, John.
Tony Mowbray. Mr.
I'll go
Cutler.
Christian Ziege.
Oh, the German's in. The German makes it. Sarah, second defender.
Southgate.
Cutler's got his hands on his head as he goes in for his second defender.
I'm going to go for Big Ugo.
I was going to go for him as well, yeah.
Ugo Ekiog, God rest his soul, makes the lineup. Sarah, your first midfield player.
Oh gosh, this is hard. There's been a lot of midfielders come through Middlesbrough's ranks.
Remember, it's a soccer 6 team.
You know who to pick, Sarah. You know who to pick.
Juninho.
Oh, Juninho. Need to pull one out the bag here, Cuts.
One of my favourite Boro players, George Boateng.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Sarah's last midfield player.
Oh, I could get this terribly wrong. I'm going to go Grant Ledbetter.
Cuts. Final midfielder.
Stuart Ripley.
I don't think anybody's picked him this year in the team, so that's a first. Well done. And this is the big one now, which could decide who's going to win, is the striker. Sarah, who are you going for as your striker? The best you've seen in your lifetime in a Middlesbrough shirt?
I've got to go Slavin then.
Bernie Slavin.
And it's the white feather for me.
For that. Oh, Ravanelli.
Oh, good shout.
The white feather.
Good shout.
Yeah, one of my favourites. So, teams are picked. Sarah's went Graham. She's went Stephen Pears, Tony Mowbray, Gareth Southgate, Juninho, Grant Ledbetter, Bernie Slavin.
Yep.
John Cutler has went the big Aussie, Mark Schwarzer, the German, Christian Ziege, Ugo Ekiog, George Boateng, Stuart Ripley, and the white feather, Fabrizio Ravanelli. So, who goes through to play Simon Blower in the final?
Right. Both fantastic teams in their own right. I can see what Cuts has tried to do. He's gone for a bit of strength, bit of solidity, dynamism down the wings. Ziege pushing on, Ripley pushing on, Rav slotting them in with that fantastic left foot of his. Sarah has gone for a bit of spirit of 86.
I have. I'm channeling it for this thing.
Which I'm more than happy with. And it's including 4 of my footballing heroes and 1 a good friend. The Wolfman, Juninho, Southgate, Mogger. What a team. Sarah wins.
Hey!
Well done, Sarah.
Sorry, John. He's frozen.
I think he's took the hoof. Oh, is he back or is he gone? He's still not. He's gone.
He's took the hoof.
He's gone. You've absolutely dismantled him, Sarah. He's actually took the hoof, left the podcast.
Oh,
can you believe it? Absolutely disgusted. He's gone.
Brilliant.
Right on cue.
Early
He
pass.
made a schoolboy error and let me go first, though, didn't he? Really?
He did. I think he regretted that decision. Oh, yeah, he comes. I think he's coming back. Yeah, he is. He's coming back. You got over the hoof, John?
Yeah, right there, Cuts.
He looks asleep on you.
I've stunned him into silence. Look, he's in shock. The guy can't move.
Sarah, you will be playing Simon Blow on the final, and I can let you know his team. Simon Blower's
If I remember, was it
team
quite
is
similar?
he's got Zach Steffen in goal. He's
Oh,
got
nice.
the defenders. He's got Jeremy, Christian Ziege, Paul Merson, Emerson, and Alan Boxic.
Oh, that's a team.
So that's who you're up against. It's a good side. It'll be a good final. So we'll put that on X later at the day, hopefully, and we'll get the we'll get the votes going this week to see who's going to be the podcast winner. So right, that's it for another week. Thank you all for coming on. Bandy, brilliant performance. Good judge again. Mr. Cutler, unlucky. Wooden spoon, beaten. Sarah,
must only be because Sarah's the guest. He's trying to be nice, isn't he?
Sarah, brilliant debut on the podcast as well. Brilliant debut, Sarah, on the podcast. Really passionate. Loved the passion. Used to going head to head with me and Cutler was a brilliant listen. We'll get you back on again in the future.
Oh, thanks, guys.
No problem. So remember, Boro fans, don't say typical Boro. Watch it, listen to it, and we'll do this all again next week. Up the Boro.
Up the Boro.
Up the Boro.
Up the Boro.